All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're going to tackle a really modern problem, that constant struggle to focus, by looking at some seriously timeless wisdom from a place you probably wouldn't expect. This is all about the intellectual life. And believe me, its lessons are more important right now than they've ever been. Does this just feel like your default state of being? That constant stream of notifications, a to-do list that just never ends, and this, nagging feeling that you're always busy, but you're not actually getting anything important done. It's like the background static of our lives. So where do we even start to look for a solution? Well, the answer is probably not where you'd think. It's not in some new productivity app or a life hack from a tech billionaire. No, the answer might just be in this book, The Intellectual Life, written way back in 1920 by a French Dominican friar named A.D. Sertillanges. I know what you're thinking. A friar as a productivity guru? It seems a little unlikely, right? But Sertillanges was an absolute master of focus. He wasn't just writing about theology, he was laying out a complete blueprint for a life of deep thought and meaningful work. And the entire foundation, the thing his whole philosophy is built on, starts with one powerful mental shift. It's all about reframing your work, whatever it is you do, from being just a job into something much, much deeper, a calling, or what he calls a vocation. And Sertillanges was super specific about what he meant by this. For him, a vocation isn't just some vague passion you have. No, it requires, and I'm quoting here, penetration, continuity, and methodical effort. In other words, it's a serious, long-term deep dive into understanding something. And this, right here, just nails the difference. See, a job is transactional. You perform tasks, you meet your obligations, you collect a paycheck. But a vocation is transformational. It's the central pillar you build your life around. It doesn't drain your energy, it gives it a purpose, a powerful direction. But here's the thing, this whole journey has to start inside you. Before you change your calendar or your apps, you have to change your own mind. Sertillanges says you have to begin by creating a zone of silence within yourself, basically clearing out all the mental clutter to actually make room for the real work to even begin. So once you've carved out that internal space, then you can start building the external conditions, the architecture really, that will protect your ability to concentrate. Let's take a look at how Sertillanges says we should do that. His advice is pretty radical. Simplify everything. Now, avoid useless furniture and numerous servants. Yeah, okay, that might sound a little dated, but just think about the modern versions of that. He's talking about digital decluttering, unsubscribing from junk, saying no to social events that drain you, and just consciously hitting the brakes on the frantic pace of your life. And at the very heart of this simplified life is solitude. But not solitude as in being lonely, solitude as a requirement for real thinking. He calls it the laboratory of the spirit. I mean, what a great phrase. It's the quiet space where your ideas can finally show up and connect without being interrupted every 5 seconds. But, and this is a really big but, he throws in a major warning. Solitude can't become complete isolation. He says if you detach yourself from humanity entirely, your work loses its purpose, its soul. Real, meaningful work has to stay connected to people, to our needs, to the whole human experience. Okay, so mindset, check. Environment, check. So how do you actually structure your day-to-day? Well, Sertillanges suggests a rhythm, a flow that's all about the quality of your attention, not the sheer quantity of hours you put in. So what's the magic number? How many hours of grinding do you need for this kind of profound work? 8 a day? 10? 12? According to certain launches, the answer is probably going to surprise you. It's this. 2. That's it, just 2 hours of intense, completely uninterrupted concentration. His argument is that those 2 hours are more productive, more fruitful than an entire 8-hour day of being distracted and half-focused. It's not about finding more time. It's about fiercely, brutally protecting a small window of high-quality time. And those 2 hours fit into a bigger daily rhythm. The morning is the sacred hour, the time when you set the trajectory for your entire day. The evening isn't for zoning out on a screen, but for quiet reflection. And get this, even sleep is part of the work. It's when your subconscious is busy connecting the dots. It's a totally holistic 24-hour cycle of creativity. All right, let's get into the nuts and bolts, the actual tools of the intellectual trade. How did Sertillanges say we should manage knowledge and information long before anyone had even dreamed of the internet? Wow. Okay. His advice on reading is so countercultural today, it's almost funny. He says, read less, but read better. Don't just consume info. Read with a purpose. And always make more time for thinking about what you read than for reading new stuff. You have to protect your interior silence, as he calls it. And here's his four-step system. First, choose well. Go to the original source, not just someone's summary. Second, read actively. Really wrestle with the ideas to make them your own. And third and fourth, this is where it gets crazy, you build a paper memory, a system of notes on little slips of paper, all organized by topic. Does that sound familiar? It should. This is basically the blueprint for the Zettelkasten, or slipbox method that's so popular today. He was doing this 100 years ago. But as we start to bring this all together, it's so important to get this one last thing. This isn't just a collection of productivity tips. For Sertillanges, this system is there for a reason, to cultivate a certain kind of spirit. Yeah, these are not life hacks. This isn't about crushing your goals or 10xing your output. These practices are about changing your entire relationship with your work. They're designed to foster humility, to foster a real passion for your vocation, and a deep respect for finding the truth no matter where that journey takes you. And in the end, Sertillanges reminds us that the biggest roadblock isn't our phone or our email inbox. The great enemy, he says, is our own internal resistance to doing the hard work. He calls it our native sloth. And this whole framework is really just a powerful way to build the discipline to fight back against that friction and do the work that truly matters. And so that really leaves us with this final thought, doesn't it? We live in a world that gives us instant answers to pretty much any question we can think of. But in our rush for that speed, what have we lost? Have we forgotten the incredible value of deep, sustained attention? And what's the real cost of that trade-off? It's something this century-old book really forces us to think about.